We've got a flash flood warning for New Orleans. A levee breach has occurred along the Industrial Canal at Tennessee Street.
Floodwaters surged into the lower Ninth Ward, destroying houses and rushing across the parish line.
Floodwaters from Hurricane Katrina surged rapidly through New Orleans' lower Ninth Ward in the early morning hours of August 29, 2005, giving residents little time to escape.
Basically, we had 5 minutes to get from inside the house, 5 minutes to get onto the attic, 5 minutes onto the roof, and then now we're floating up the street.
And just like that, Robert Green's life changed in an instant. His Tennessee Street home lifted off its foundation just as 7 family members, including 3 granddaughters, made it to the roof.
I put Shanae on the roof, turned my back to get Shania and Muffin. Shanae fell off the roof and was gone. 25 feet of water, raging winds, dark as hell, nothing but dirty black water out there.
Green's 3-year-old granddaughter, Shanae, died in the floodwaters. His 74-year-old mother, Joyce, who suffered from advanced Parkinson's disease, also passed away after falling into the water and nearly drowning.
My brother resuscitated her, and she survived Katrina's hurricane winds, all the debris following it, and at the end of the hurricane, about 7 hours later, she lay dead on the roof with her eyes open and a leaf in her mouth.
Green said neighbors helped neighbors survive in the hours after the levees broke, swamping his community. His family was eventually rescued by neighbor Ernest Shorty Edwards, who took them by boat to the Claiborne Avenue Bridge to wait for help.
If it wouldn't been for Shorty, if it wouldn't have been for Michael Knight, if it wouldn't have been for Antonio God, if it wouldn't have been for Stephen Ford, a lot of people would have been gone.
Meanwhile, on the river side of the lower Nine, National Guard troops activated 3 days before Katrina rode out the storm at Jackson Barracks.
Katrina hit on August 29th, which was a Sunday, and then on Monday morning, the waters rose 7 feet in an hour and a half. So we knew we had to evacuate, so we evacuated to the Superdome, and that became the base of operations.
Colonel Jacques Thibodeau was one of the commanders who led the charge. His task force of about 1,000 guardsmen was the first military unit to respond to Katrina. Thibodeau admits he was overcome with emotion as he flew from Jackson Barracks to the Superdome.
I could see people as far as I could see on rooftops. Immediately the day after the storm, and I had great appreciation that I was alive. And in that 5-minute flight, I felt sadness at how many people we would not be able to get to. And then right before I landed at the Superdome, I replaced that with determination that we were going to save as many as we could.
The Guard worked around the clock, plucking families off rooftops and out of waterlogged neighborhoods. They evacuated the Superdome. Turned to an even greater crisis, the New Orleans Convention Center. Thousands huddled there without food, water, or electricity. Some died waiting for help. Reports of crime, violence, and lawlessness added to the chaos.
We were going in with 1,000 soldiers from 5 states to secure the convention center. That's the kind of thing, it takes months to plan something like that. And we were given the word at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, 5 days after the storm, and we went in, we didn't fire a shot. We secured the place in 30 minutes. We started feeding everyone in 3 hours, and we started evacuation at 19 hours. And at 30 hours after we got there, it was empty.
Thibodeau said the apocalyptic nature of Katrina was devastating.
What haunts me the most is the 1,300 people we could not get to. We saved 69,000 people, and I still think about them every day.
Rescuing the living was only the beginning. It took more than 40 days to drain the city. As the floodwaters slowly retreated, soldiers and emergency responders went door to door looking for bodies.
We began to pick up the pieces, to get the DMOR teams and to pick all those remains up, as many as we could find, and we still couldn't find all of them. And that went on for probably about 4 months.
Katrina crosses marked the homes and buildings that were searched.
We created the Katrina X, as they call it, where you have a date, the agency that searched it, if there were any fatalities, and initials of the person that searched it. And it gave us a grid to look at. It just came out of necessity when you're talking about all the structures that you had to check emerged.
All 50 states eventually sent National Guard troops to help in the recovery effort. Louisiana's 256th Infantry Brigade would also soon join the fight after a year-long combat tour in Iraq. Brigade members watched Katrina attack their home state from a battlefield half a world away.
All those soldiers that lived in New Orleans were watching it on TV, and they said, well, that's my house. Well, it's the roof of my house.
Retired Major General John Basilica commanded the 256th. His 4,000 soldiers arrived home about 4 weeks after Katrina hit, battle-tested and ready for a more personal mission. The general said there were no parades or welcome home celebrations, but this is where his troops wanted to be.
To be able to clear the route so that you could get medical supplies in there and food and water and things to be able to assist people, we were doing that. We were doing medical, we were distributing commodities, we were setting up camps, we were putting everything that you could think of to be able to support the people, to be home and to not have to deal with insurgents and bombs, and it was still a heck of a lot better than being in Iraq.
Both Basilica and Thibodeau are proud of how the Guard responded when their state needed them the most.
This is a great example of how the National Guard can perform its federal and its state mission, protecting what matters, their country and their state and their local communities.
When I look back and I think back at that, and I think about how quickly we were able to get the people that were there that had no food or water for 4 or 5 days, we were able to give them food and water and give them a lifeline and get them out of there. I take a lot of satisfaction in that.
Back in the lower 9th Ward, some parts of the neighborhood remain frozen in time. Empty, overgrown lots still dot the landscape 20 years later. But Robert Green sees hope in what he called gradual, not slow redevelopment here. He keeps the back stairs, the only part of his family home that survived the storm, not as a monument to loss, but as a symbol of what's still possible.
It's representative of life. It's representative of what life used to be like, but what life can come to being back to.
Paul Murphy, WWL, Louisiana.